can't complain at all. Soaring with flying colors, the ribbon in the sky look like a golden ticket. Something to travel through the prism is a prison. I'm looking for depth in the light.
We are sitting here with Ausar. How are you doing today, Ausar?
Man, can't complain. I am all good. Thank you for having me.
That's good. That's good. How's 2021 been treating you so far?
It's been interesting. Honestly, I think there are a lot of moving pieces right now. I think everybody is kind of shifting gears and getting ready to prepare for when outside hopefully opens back up all the way. And because of that, like I feel like everybody's just kind of moving around right now. There's a little bit of a buzz bubbling, so it's pretty dope to see.
So you've noticed that kind of motion going on with people in music?
Yeah, absolutely. I've started to see like different festivals start popping up at the end of the year too. So it's really cool, and I'm really hoping that we can get out and about again because I miss the live aspects of music so much. It's been so long.
So many broken hearts right now because of just that entire like life is just like, put to the side.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely good to see that hope. What was kind of your favorite thing about that live scene that you miss?
I mean, I think I was just starting to come into my own as a performer like right before COVID hit, because I had just gotten done with college at the end of 2019, and like I was starting to do shows in the city because I was back home. And we literally had a show like a week before the shutdown. And it was basically a packed out show. So like to go from that to, okay, well, no more shows for the next year and a half. It's just like, wow, bro. Like it's been an adjustment. It's definitely been an adjustment, but I'm ready to get back to it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Just getting kind of cut off and get right back into it, hopefully soon enough.
Yeah.
I've been listening to your work for a while now, and you're always providing new sounds. Like, I don't think I've heard a track and went like, oh, I've heard this from him before. So you incorporate different styles, whether it's, super melodic, soulful, or maybe more bar heavy. But so I want to talk about your style a bit because I find that super interesting. Out of all of your projects, like, what would you recommend to someone to show what you're all about? Like, what record would you take and be like, this is Ausar right here?
That's a great question. I think, and it's funny you mention that because just like you said, like I think I show different elements in every song that I have, right? Like I think especially since like I don't ever want to be a one-trick pony. So I purposely and intentionally try to switch up the sound as much as possible. In terms of the message, though, I think it kind of is shown throughout. But the song that's truest to me out of some of the stuff I most recently dropped is Hive off of my EP, Flight of the Honeybee. That's the one I would pick.
All right. Fair. Yeah, that whole entire, like that EP in itself, it has a lot of different vibes going on. It has kind of like a more aggressive verse on, was it Sting? Is that what it's called? Stinger. Yeah, it was a lot more aggressive on that one. And then others very soulful, like I definitely see the variety there.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So like as for like soulful stuff, so you've been really open about growing up in a Christian background and very influenced by gospel stuff. So would you say that genre was kind of the most impactful in your life?
Oh, absolutely. Like for the first 8-9 years of my life, that was my primary source of music. And my mom was in the choir, and I was in church even past the age of 8. From the time I was born to about the time I was 18 and went out to college, I was in church 2-3 days a week. So it's like to grow up and live in that, and it'd be a part of my lifestyle even the current day in terms of my own belief system and the culture behind it. It's like that definitely made and shaped the music that I wanted to make. I think when you listen to gospel music, it makes you feel something, right? And all the music that I'm personally drawn to, it has to make me feel something. Stuff like soul, even soul samples. I like to rap on a lot of stuff with soul samples in it. I'm drawn to them because you get a feeling behind it. Like you can feel it when you listen to it. And that type of stuff always just resonates with me.
with gospel, it's like, do you feel like that's kind of a hard kind of, because of course this is complete, this is you as a person. Do you feel like it's kind of hard to navigate in the industry holding that intact?
No, I don't really think so. Especially not where I'm at right now. Like I think everybody in my immediate cohort and like within just within the cohort that I'm coming up in, if I've had a chance to collaborate them, I've made it very clear what it is that I represent. And in a lot of cases, it's garnered more respect than anything. There have been a couple of times where, like, because I don't use any profanity in any of my music, and I don't hop on features with profanity either. So I've had to explain that anytime I hop on songs. And everybody who's hopped on songs with me, like, they respect it. And I think that's really, really dope, because at first that was something I was kind of self-conscious about because I didn't know how people would take it. But like, I've grown so much as an artist on my own that like, I'm very confident in coming out the gate. Like, hey, this is what I stand for. You know what I'm saying? This is what I do and don't do. And if you're rocking with it, cool. If not, I completely understand. There are no hard feelings. So it's been dope.
Yeah, I can definitely see like that situation where you would come across the people that like don't mess with it too much. And so I was kind of thinking like how that could be limiting, but it seems like, yeah, you find your people and they, you do what you do with them.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times it's kind of stigmatized in gospel. And then like, of course, there's a whole subsect of like Christian hip hop that I don't I don't feel like I fall within those confines at all by any means. But I think why a lot of times that genre gets kind of stagnant is because, I don't know, I think you can forget sometimes that we are holistic people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely.
I think if you identify yourself as Christian and like there's a certain message you want to portray in your music, that's cool. You don't have to marginalize yourself in the confines of this is all that I can talk about though, like right here. Like I think music is made to portray stories and from various viewpoints. Like, if you're not telling your full complete story, you're giving not only yourself a disservice but the people around you, because these are stories that other people could probably resonate with. So it's just about widening the scope.
Right. It's easy for people to just try to put you under a label, which seems like a lot of people would just try to do constantly to others.
Yeah.
So it's good that, you can work past that. So besides gospel, is there another genre that you feel most in tune with? Like, is there a sound or an aesthetic where you're in your domain on a track?
Yeah, I love NeoSoul. I love NeoSoul and R&B. Just because of the feel of it. And it's kind of cheating because a lot of those NeoSoul chords and stuff is like gospel chords. So it's just like, you're not really venturing too far out. But yeah, I really, really rock with it. It's super familiar to me. And a lot of my favorite singers are in kind of that pocket.
All right. So what kind of like artists have influenced you, whether it's in that kind of neo-soul area or maybe in, more hip hop?
Word. In hip hop, my favorite rapper of all time is Common. Of course, the Kendricks, the Coles, the Drakes. Lauryn Hill is one of my favorite artists ever. In terms of neo-soul, that's funny. This album changed my life. Freudian by Daniel Caesar. When I first heard it, it made me look at music a whole lot differently. And it's because the album, like if I had to pick an album that encompassed what I think love is or what it sounds like if I had to give a sound to love, it's Freudian by Daniel Caesar.
So this is your recommendation. This is solid.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
He just pulled that out of nowhere. So it's like, you got that right there.
This was actually just given to me as an early birthday gift. It just came in the mail like 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But yeah, that Anderson .Paak, Malibu, that was another album that blew my mind when it came out. And that one also changed, like, around that time period, because I think Freudian and Malibu dropped a year apart.
Mm.
Around that time period, I was still trying to find my sound. And like, I don't know, those just really resonated with me so heavily. And specifically Malibu, the fact that he was able to so seamlessly mix genres the way that he did in terms of rapping and singing in a way that like wasn't like Drake type singing. You know what I'm saying? Where it was just leaps and bounds different in terms of melodies and sounds and what he was able to do.
I can definitely see Common as an influence. Like, it makes sense considering kind of the socially conscious style that he has represented in Chicago. So I can like see the impacts like that. Do you identify a lot with the Chicago scene or the South in general as an artist?
Yeah, I mean, it's home. I think in my earlier years of rapping, I was very self-conscious about rapping about the crib, just because, like, I don't know, it's portrayed in a certain way, and my experiences were a little different. Like, I got a great mix of everything growing up. Like, my pops stayed out in the suburbs, in a south suburb called Matson, and it was like a great neighborhood. And you know what I'm saying? I didn't really have many worries out here. On the contrast, though, my mom stayed in one of the rougher neighborhoods over on the east side of the city, southeast side of the city. And I think I was self-conscious because I was like, okay, I want to make sure I'm giving a good mix of all of my experiences rather than giving a subset just because I know it caters to a specific audience. Like, I want to be as open and honest and candid as my music as I can. So until I figured out that balance for myself for a long time, I strayed away from it in terms of the writing portions of it. But sonically, it 100% encompassed what's the word I'm looking for? It encompassed the sound that I followed, right? Because Chicago is known for, the Midwest in general is just known for soul.
Right.
And so that 100% influenced the music I make and have made since I started. So yeah.
So what did you grow up listening to that kind of, like, region wise, like what did you grow up listening to that really kind of had that Chicago sound for you?
I was listening to Lupe. I was listening to Kanye. I was listening to all the people that Ye worked with too, which is still technically because Ye produced it, it was still the Chicago sound, right? Like, I was listening to Talib Kweli. I was listening to who else was I listening to? Yeah, of course I was listening to Common and everything that Ye was producing for him. A little bit of Twista. I wasn't heavy into Twista at the time. Not until later on when I started looking them up on my own. And yeah, I think the rest of what I was listening to was just very soulful stuff. Like, my pops had put me onto D'Angelo at a very early age. I was listening to the first album I ever listened to full way through was The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Trying to think, what else would I listening to at that time? Still a lot of gospel, just because when I first started, it was gospel. My brothers were putting me onto the music I was listening to. In terms of hip hop, like, they were putting me on the Mos Def and Pharrell and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see all the different kind of voices that you've heard from, different sounds, but like kind of, similar genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So most recently, you've dropped a single titled Paradise, and has just a straight verse throughout. Do you have anything to say about the new track or how it came to be?
Yeah. Shout out to Thilo. Thelonious Martin is the individual who produced it. I've been a fan of Thilo since I was in high school. And it was just really dope to come in to be able to connect with him much later on in life. And get a track done together. We actually met through hooping. Like, we played basketball together through like some mutual homies, and it was just a dope experience. We ran a pick and roll very effectively, so we became really cool after that. And he heard some of my rapping on the timeline and was like, yo, I want to send you some stuff over. And it was instant, like a no brainer at all. And I'm glad that it's getting the reception that it's getting. And yeah, I hope to do a lot more with him.
Yeah, what's it? I assume it's a lot different having chemistry with someone when you're making that music. Like when you're good with them, like obviously there's a different dynamic there than someone that you're just like collaborating with one off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think you can hear that in the music in a way?
Yeah. I think I've earlier on when I was making music, I was very self-conscious about because I have a lot of really talented friends. Really, really talented friends. And I think earlier on, I felt I was scared that I was hiding behind production. Like it didn't really matter what I said because the production behind everything I did was just so amazing that like it was going to do what it needed to do regardless. And I don't know. Of course I value production because production makes a song, but like I want to make sure that I'm adding to it. Like I'm being additive rather than I'm just kind of a feature there. Um, and so I was scared of that for a long time, but now I realize that collaboration is the basis of music, right? Like there is no one thing that makes or breaks the song. It's the collective efforts together. So for this last EP, we were super collaborative with it. We had different musicians coming through to lay live instrumentation. I sat and worked with Ro, who's my primary producer and my engineer, and we went through all of these joints together, and we took our time with them. And it even translated to the album that we're working on, like taking those same things we learned and just applying them. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I find that really interesting how, how you said it's the foundation. It's important to collaborate to make music together. And
Yeah.
I think that sometimes, because now, you can just make music in your bedroom, like all by yourself. Like it's a lot more accessible. So I feel like that's sometimes forgotten, that sort of, that sense of collaboration. But do you have any sort of dream collaboration of any artist you can think of?
Any artists? I have a few. Anderson .Paak, Jasmine Sullivan. That
would be
number one answer. Jasmine Sullivan. I love her so much. There are some, like a lot of my collaborations would be singers because I love R&B. Like I would love to work with Lucky Day. I would love to work with Sir. I would love to work with her. I would love to work with Jasmine Sullivan. I would love to work with Andrada Day. I would love to work with Alex Isley, Masego. Like I can keep going.
Yeah. So you've been making music for a while now. Like it's been a minute, right?
Professionally for 5 years. 5 years now.
Have you noticed any particular big changes in the scene over the past 5 years or so? Like not just like COVID involved, but like just maybe the general sound you hear in your own circle?
I mean, yeah, it's shifting. But it's shifting in a good way. I think, like I said, things out here are getting a lot more collaborative. I think for a long time, Chicago was known for being like very segregated in terms of the music scenes. But now it's getting a lot more like everybody knows everybody works with everybody. I think in terms of the sound, it shifted once Monte Booker entered the space and like you started hearing a whole new sound literally because of him. But I still think soul reigns supreme in the city in terms of what you hear. I still think soul reigns supreme.
Yeah. I feel like the internet makes things a lot blurrier with location and sound. You know what I mean? Like I feel like music just keeps blending everywhere because it's just, everybody's, like you said, everybody's collaborating. Everybody's got their own backgrounds and sounds. And it's just kind of, you could find all sorts of different inspiration,
Absolutely.
It's more accessible there. So basically to wrap things up, what do you see being next for Ausar other than, live things when that comes about?
The album, I see the album being my primary priority for the rest of this year. Just knocking it out. We've been working on it for years, and I think it's finally time to like let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Yeah,
it's looking to get about that time.
It's about that time.
Awesome. That's something definitely great to look forward to. You have anything to say about the project that you want to say before?
It's the culmination of my work for like the past 4 years. I think it'll tell a story. I think because I'm just a self-conscious person for the longest time, like I nitpicked at it. And I'm realizing now that I'm growing as an artist, so if I don't get ready to put it out now, a year from now, I will hate it and it will not be as good as the music that I'm making. So like now is the time. I think we've put a lot of time into it. There's a little more we need to do to tweak it to make it right. And we're gonna have fun and enjoy the process. I'm not gonna overthink it.
Sounds great. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Comparison to heavyweight to carry. I've been singing to the sun like Mary, Mary. And the only rain I've seen in my forecast just happens to foreshadow my ascent, dialing in. And if the line is busy,